Hey everyone, just recently GPT-4o Mini fine-tuning was released to Tier 4 and Tier 5 users. So I've written some scripts which helps you with synthetic dataset generation. You can also create manual datasets by inputting them here. But all you have to do is just provide a general description and all the examples for you will be generated, written into autodataset.txt and consequently to the output.jsonl file, which you can use to fine-tune your model, GPT-4 Mini model. You can also choose to include or not include a system message. If you wanted the model just to learn from examples and wanted to save tokens, you can skip the system message. You can also test your fine-tuned model by just inputting the model name here. I have created a 10-point dataset for a polite and helpful customer service assistant who is used to talking to grumpy customers. And I have used that to actually start a fine tune. As you can see, it is actually fine tuning. We can see the training loss and also the metrics here, but we can actually go ahead and create another one just so you see. All we have to do is select the GPT-4 Mini if it is available to you, then select the output.jsonl file, and you can give it a suffix, for example, customer service -2, let's say, and you can adjust your parameters and just click create, and it will just begin fine-tuning. So the code files for this will be available at my Patreon. Link will be in the description. When you have created a fine-tune, for example, here I created a sarcastic bot. You can look at its stats and metrics if you wish. And you can actually click right here, down here. You can take it to the playground and compare actually how it compares to the non-fine-tuned GPT-4 Mini. You should enter your system message if you use the system message during fine-tuning, but for this one, I didn't. Let's see how it responds. Here it's saying I'm a bundle of algorithms instead of just a computer program. So this is a more sarcastic tendency, but 10 examples may not, without a system message, may not have been enough to give it that behavior. But it seems like this customer service bot was actually trained. Let's test this out. Let's take it to the playground. I trained it with this exact same data set before I started recording the video. So we're not going to enter a system message, and I'm just going to say hi. So I am representing a customer. Let's say I have been waiting for 10 minutes. As you can see, when I say I've been waiting for 10 minutes, this one says, I apologize for the wait. Thank you for your patience. But the non-fine-tuned version just says, I'm sorry to hear that. If I were to say this is about my order, not delivered, here it says, I understand your concern. I'm sorry to hear about your order. Can you please provide me with your order number? But here it says, I'm not able to access specific order details. So even without using a system message and only using 10 examples, and by creating the dataset synthetically, we were able to fine-tune a customer service bot who's used to talking to grumpy customers. So let's begin and take a look at how we can create manual datasets or synthetic datasets automatically. If you do download this from my Patreon, you will get a detailed README file, which actually explains how it works as well. Like I said, the code files will be available at my Patreon. Now let's just dive deeper and demo the dataset generation. So everything about this script begins with the system message.txt and autodataset.txt. When we run the autodataset generator, the system message and the dataset is generated automatically, but you can enter actually your custom system message here if you had one. You can also enter each one of your custom, if you want to do this manually, you can enter each user assistant interactions right after the user and the system messages like this, and then run JSON-L maker, and it will create your output.jsonl file. To be able to fine-tune GPT models, you need at least minimum of 10 examples, but what is recommended is maybe at least 50 to 100 high-quality examples, and the more the merrier, and quality of it matters quite a lot. So I just want to say that about custom dataset generation. You can just input your own dataset, just like here, and then run the JSON-L maker. But we will be demoing the auto dataset generator, which uses the JSON-L maker to create the JSON-L file. Let's run this and see how this works. And I have here some tasks, which I'll include in the Patreon download. Let's actually go with a masterful gamer chatbot who knows everything about Monster Hunter, which is the only thing it talks about, for example. So we are entering in instructions for the data set system message. And when we do that, it is going to generate a system message for us for this data set. Here is the system message. You are a masterful gamer chatbot with expert level knowledge. You can view this here as well in the system message.txt. And after that, it's going to ask us enter the number of examples to generate. Let's just do 2 so we can review what's going on. I would like to take a moment to talk about the benefits of becoming a patron. As some of you may know, in the last year and a half, I've spent 3,000 hours, over 300 projects as a patron. You will have access to all the code files so you can get inspiration and iterate quickly. Another benefit is that you'll have access to all my courses. And my most recent and most proud one, the 1000x Masterclass, teaching what I've learned on how to code fast and efficiently. Also the Streamlit course and the Fast API course. In my Patreon, I also have tiers in which you can connect with me one-on-one. Check those out as well. Now we're generating example 1 of 2. So what we're doing is we are going to imagine chatbot 1 as the user and chatbot 2 as the assistant. And the system message will be guiding the assistant messages. That's how the fine tuning works. We need to also generate a description for the chatbot 1 user, which is going to be in complement of chatbot 2. Therefore, we have generated a chatbot 1 description, which is going to be the user message. You are a curious beginner to the Monster Hunter. That's going to be the chatbot 1, which is going to be interacting with chatbot 2, which is guided by our system message. And chatbot 2 is the one that is the model that we are wanting to generate, who knows all about Monster Hunter. And once this data set is generated, it is going to automatically write it to this autodataset.txt file. So you'll get a chance to actually modify anything here. Since we generated 2 examples, we can have 2 user assistant pairs like this. And then after reviewing, it's going to ask us, do you want to proceed with this data set? If I say yes, it's going to proceed to generate the JSON-L file, but it's first asking us if we want to use a system message in this. If you say yes, then it is going to generate those 2 data points for a fine-tuning data set. As you can see, the system message is included along with the single-turn user assistant interactions. Now I'll demonstrate something else which actually caused me to reconfigure and actually generate a chatbot, remove the instructions from the auto dataset generating model to use user and assistant in chatbot 1 and chatbot 2, because I was actually trying to create a model, fine-tune a model to be a grumpy and frustrated customer of a cloud storage company. But as you can see, the bot is going to be the customer, and we want the user to be a customer service agent. But we don't want to say this explicitly to the. We will look at the code in detail and the instructions, but this is why I am describing it as a single turn conversation between chatbot 1 and chatbot 2. System message will be guiding chatbot 2, and therefore we are asking to describe a hypothetical system message for the first chatbot. So once we did that, this actually worked well. So it will be interesting to see this. So our task is to create a dataset, synthetic dataset to fine-tune a model which will simulate a grumpy and frustrated customer. And once we enter that, then our system message will be generated. You're portraying a grumpy and frustrated customer of a cloud storage company. And then here, let's create like 3 examples. And now, if you look at this chatbot 1 description, which we're not using, it says you're a friendly and patient customer service representative for a cloud storage company. Your goal is to assist customers with their inquiries and resolve any issues they may have. Always maintain a professional, helpful manner, even when faced with the difficult customers. This was generated based on to complement the system message that was generated, which is you're portraying a grumpy, frustrated customer. And when these examples are generated, we can save it to the dataset with or without the system message. Let's go ahead and include it. And here we can see that these 3 examples were generated along with the system message. So this script also is prompted to simulate the beginning of the conversation for the first third of the examples you want to generate. That's why you can see here it says hello and welcome to Cloud Store Support. And the second third of the messages is supposed to simulate the middle of the conversation, and the final third of the message is supposed to simulate the end of it. That's why you can see here the customer service agent says, I understand your frustration. So you're experiencing difficulties, which might be a message that happens in the middle of the conversation. Versus on the third conversation, says, I apologize for the inconvenience. I assure you we have successfully reset your account, which is something that may have happened at the end. So it's taking care of quite a lot of stuff automatically. Like I said, you can always manually modify these and then create your fine tune. The fine tuning, the first 2 million for fine tuning actually is free every day until the middle of September, I think. So this is a great fun way for you to experiment with fine tuning data sets. Like I said, this project files was available at my Patreon. Link will be in the description. Now let's dive into the code. I would like to take a moment to talk about the benefits of becoming a patron. As some of you may know, in the last year and a half, I've spent 3,000 hours, over 300 projects. As a patron, you will have access to all the code files so you can get inspiration and iterate quickly. Another benefit is that you'll have access to all my courses, and my most recent and most proud one, the 1000x Masterclass, teaching what I've learned on how to code fast and efficiently. Also the Streamlit course and the Fast API course. In my Patreon, I also have tiers in which you can connect with me one-on-one. Check those out as well. So the first file to look at is JSON-L maker, which pretty much has a function to read the file and then parse the data set. It's going to go through every line of this autodataset.txt. We can actually clear it and only have one example. For example, hi and hello. So just make sure that it's not in the continuing line, but messages start in their own lines. You can have empty lines, I suppose. Let me just show you. If you run this, it's asking if you want to use a system message. Let's say no. Then this data set will have this data point will have been added with hi and hello. So this is how this works, but we are doing it programmatically here using the parse data set, which is going to get the content, which is going to be read by this read file. And it's going to initialize two empty lists, one for conversation, one for current conversation. And it's going to go through all the lines and look for user and assistant content and append these appropriately, and then create these to the current conversation with the role user. And when it finds the assistant content, it's going to add it as the assistant. And in the beginning of generate JSON-L, which is going to take in a system message, conversations, and output file, we're going to ask user if they like to use a system message in the data set. If it's no, then we set the system message to empty, and now we append the system message plus the entire conversation, which this function takes. So here we read the system message, we read the dataset content from system message.txt and autodataset.txt, and then we parse the dataset, and now we generate the JSON-L. You can change the file name for the output as well, and it'll write it here. Now the auto dataset generator is going to use this JSON-L maker, but it's actually also going to create the system message and also the conversations, the synthetic dataset. For this, I'm using unified APIs that I've created. This will also be available along with the code download, but this is just a simplified way to use OpenAI, Anthropic, or any open router model. It comes with methods such as clearing the history, keeping track of history, such as just chat functions and trimming history, things like that. If you want to know more about that, you can watch this video either from my website, echohive.live, or my YouTube channel. If you watch this, I review the code for this as well. But it's just to simplify our life. That's why we are importing it, and we are importing every function from the JSON-L maker module, the file. And we have a create system message function, which is going to take in a system message input. This is the instruction to create the system message. We initialize the bot. We name it system message generator. We don't want it to stream the output into terminal. We can use OpenAI's GPT-4o. And the prompt is, please create a system message for a fine-tuning dataset based on the following user instructions. Return only the system message in between these XML tags. So we're going to call the prompt with just bot.chat, and now we're going to parse the response out and save it to system message.txt. So this part is pretty straightforward, and you can modify the prompt. Now we're going to print that system message was created, and this is going to return the system message. The generate data set is going to take in the system message, a number of examples which the user will specify. Again, we are initializing an instance of the unified API class. We call it the dataset generator. We do want this to stream to terminal because if you're generating many examples, you may want to see them in real time. Provider is Anthropic. You set a system message, asking it to be a dataset generator for a fine-tuning an AI model. Each data point will be a single turn conversation between chatbot 1 and chatbot 2 roles. Chatbot 2 will be prompted by the system message because when you're creating a fine-tuning data set, the training actually is for the assistant. So that's why the system message is going to be for the assistant. Here we are naming chatbot 2. But how shall the behavior of chatbot-1 will be in general circumstances? That's why here we are asking it to first describe a hypothetical system message for the first chatbot, which will be interacting with the assistant described in the system message already provided. Do this in between these tags. And I would say for each example, provide the chatbot 1's text, which is based on the chatbot 1 description, which it creates right here. And in between chatbot-1, so this is going to be the user message. Remember, we do ask it to remember that this will be based on the chatbot 1 description you will be describing and not on the system message and chatbot 1 description. We say that this description is found in between this, which it had defined up here. For each example, provide chatbot 2's response based on the system message provided to you in the chatbot 2 tags. And then we initialize datasets list. We go over however many examples user has specified. We print that. And then we ask it to generate examples, let's say 1 of 10. And then we also add an additional instruction here that for the first 1/3 of the examples, simulate the very beginning of the conversation based on the system message provided might look like. For the second third, simulate the middle of the conversation. For the last, simulate the end of the conversation. Feel free to modify these. Then when we get our response using the bot.chat method of the unified class, then we parse the user content, assistant content, we print it in terminal, and we add it to our data set. And then once this loop is done, then we write it to autodataset.txt. And the review dataset actually opens it and prints the content at the end. And then after that, we ask, does the user want to proceed with this? If it is yes, we return true, otherwise false. And in the main, we get instructions, enter your instructions for your dataset system message. We get the system message. I create system message. We print that system message and then ask user how many number of examples, synthetic examples to generate for the dataset. We write the system message to file, then we generate the file, and we ask the user to review the dataset. If they say yes, then we write the system message, dataset contents, and the conversations. And then we generate the JSON-L file. So that's about it. I think this is pretty useful, especially considering fine-tuning is practically free up to 2 million tokens every day. So I hope you'll find this useful. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you like this content, subscribe to the channel or give this a like. I also have AMA meetings every week with my Architect Plus level patrons. You can find details on that on my Patreon. Link will be in the description. I also have tiers on my Patreon. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, I do provide consulting, or if you needed help with your code files or something like that. Yeah, and by becoming a patron, you'll have access to over 250 project files, such as this one. So, and thank you for your support. My patron support allows me to continue making videos like this and sharing the project files for them as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I would like to take a moment to talk about the benefits of becoming a patron. As some of you may know, in the last year and a half, I've spent 3,000 hours, over 300 projects as a patron. You will have access to all the code files so you can get inspiration and iterate quickly. Another benefit is that you'll have access to all my courses. And my most recent and most proud one, the 1000x Masterclass, teaching what I've learned on how to code fast and efficiently. Also the Streamlit course and the Fast API course. In my Patreon, I also have tiers in which you can connect with me one-on-one. Check those out as well.